Hello everyone, I am Abhinav. This is a KTM 390 Adventure, the India-specific model that has recently been launched. Today is the media drive of this very motorcycle. I'm in beautiful Goa. I'm close to a beach, and I'm going to shoot a live video of how this motorcycle is to ride. I'm going to give you my opinion in this video. I shot another video in which I did not share my opinion. That video would have gone live a day or two earlier, but this time, let's take a look at the bike. Typical KTM styling, inspired by Dakar, the Dakar racing bikes. I don't think it quite looks like that, but KTM claims like that this looks like a Dakar bike. I think it's still a very good looking motorcycle. It's a very purposeful looking motorcycle, and quite a step up from the 390 Adventure that you and I used to ride earlier. This is a very slim motorcycle. The focus has been off-road riding. I've spoken about all of that in the previous videos. Here I'm just going to ride it and tell you about the riding experience. Okay, I'm going to open the Pillion pegs as well because this is my friend Ankit. He is my DOP of the day. We haven't shot anything. We've just shot one video. But yeah, okay, so we're going to try and go on the highway, try this motorcycle over there, try and ride it, on Goa's serpentine roads and see how it rides. First and foremost, 830mm seat height. Let me try and get a sit on the bike. I can get my feet down very, very, very easily. I'm flat footing the motorcycle. There's a nice bend in my knees. That means people who are slightly shorter than me will be able to get on the bike very well. Wide handlebar, very easy to reach. Very narrow, very slim motorcycle. The tank is also extremely slim. You've got these crash guards on the side, so the tank is not going to touch the motorcycle. It'll first probably be the handlebar on these plastic handguards. Again, just plastic, I would highly suggest you to upgrade to Bugbusters because these will not stay in place or protect much in case of a heavy hit. Okay, the screen is right up front over here. Big screen, vertically, not vertically stacked, but right up here in your vision. So even if you're standing and riding, you should be able to get a decent view of the screen. The idea is to look ahead. Big tall windscreen with this cutout so there won't be a lot of wind buffeting. Widescreen, very easy to reach controls. Ignition on, we put it in neutral. Okay. Starter button on. We've got a lot of buttons over here. Cruise control, parking. This is very tactile feeling. 3 ride modes on this motorcycle. We will talk about all of that. This is what the horn sounds like. Ankit, get on the bike. Lovely mirrors. I don't like these very Dominar style mirror stocks. I prefer very thin foldable mirrors, but anyway, we get these. But the mirrors themselves, they are great. Amazing visibility out of these mirrors. The handlebar ends are also very wide, so when the bike falls, these will be the first thing that will touch the ground. Ankit is on the bike. He's 70 kilos. I am 92 kilos. With gear and everything, we would be about 170 kilos or so on the bike. And now let's get riding. The bike squats down nicely. Now the bend in the knee is even more pronounced. Okay, first gear. Gently rolling the bike. Very easy off the throttle this bike is. And KTM say that they have a crawl mode on the motorcycle. That means even if it doesn't have any throttle, the bike will keep rolling. We are in the second gear. 2 people on this motorcycle, mind you. The bike is rolling. It stays close to 2000 RPM. This is a slight gradient, slight uphill. The bike is not stalling. And then it just picks up very smoothly, very nicely. Quick shifter up and down. Flawless. I have ridden this motorcycle about 50 kilometers today in Goa, 2 hours or so. I don't have any complaints whatsoever when it comes to the quick shifter. The previous quick shifter was a bit clunky. This one is a lot more refined. Going down is easy too. Okay, so we will take a right. Ankit has tapped me on the right shoulder. We go right. Oh, this bike turns easy. It is such a nice, light feeling motorcycle with a lot of mass centralization. Down to the first gear, and I'm not using the clutch. Second, not using the clutch. the bike is a little vibey around this point, you know, between 4 and 5,000 RPM. It's not a problem. Let me please be very clear about that. This is not a problem for me. It might be a problem for you because I'm a little bit more tolerant to vibes. But as soon as you cross that 5,000 RPM, the bike has power. I mean, it does have power, but you feel that torque, you know, you feel the low end torque and the mid-range torque around till about 5,000 RPM or so, and then after that the bike just goes. So we are in the 4th gear and we are just cruising, chilling on the motorcycle. Very light, very nimble, very easy to love motorcycle. This very easy. I did do, you know, the highway stretch on this bike. I hadn't connected my camera's mic, so you know, all of that footage is gonna go in the garbage bin. I've lost a lot of daylight. I'm shooting this in extremely poor lighting conditions now, but I'll tell you, on the highway it sits beautifully at 110. No stress whatsoever. I can do 110 on this bike all day. The wind, it wasn't hitting me from the front. There was a lot of crosswind, but the crosswind wasn't throwing this bike around at all. Such a nice bike to just flick in corners. Like, okay, I'll say this, which might sound a little controversial and somebody might think I'm dissing this motorcycle, but no, I'm not. This motorcycle feels like a scooty to ride because it's that easy. You don't really have to do anything. Very gentle throttle. You know, it is a ride-by-wire throttle, so no effort on the throttle. Just lovely to ride, lovely to ride. And look at all the information that's on this display. I think this display is also on the KTM 390 Duke. I haven't ridden that motorcycle, so I don't know much about it, but very crisp TFT display. I can see I have all the information that I need in front of me. I have the time, I have the speed, the fuel gauge, you know, trip 1, trip 2, fuel economy, odometer, gear indicator, the mode indicator that I'm in street right now. I can switch to off-road, I can switch to rain. While riding the motorcycle, all I have to do is this. See this button that says in, riding mode in. Okay, street, I go down, off-road, I go down rain, close the throttle, okay, and press in, and now we are in the rain mode, which would mean a softer throttle response and a little bit more traction control. I don't want to ride in rain because I think street is okay. I mean, this is not a very high powered motorcycle, and now we are in the street mode again. Lovely, beautiful. The controls are extremely intuitive. It's not difficult to go through the menu, and I think this will make for a very good tourer. I'm very relaxed on the motorcycle. It feels like the ergonomics feel like they are of a bigger motorcycle and not a small motorcycle. I'm not cramped on the bike. I wish the seat height were taller though. I really want the ADV-R, but since we don't get it, this is the bike we are riding right now. We'll have to talk about this. Clutch action is very light. You won't even need to use the clutch most times on this motorcycle. You're definitely not going to use it, you know, to... Okay, we got to go right. You're definitely not going to use this clutch when it comes to shifting gears, because you'd be quick shifting up and down the gearbox like this. Smooth enough, you know, the gearbox. Of course, this motorcycle is so new, it's only done 253 kilometers on the odometer. So as and when, you know, it does 1,000, 2,000 kilometers or so, the engine's going to open up, the gearbox is going to open up, it's going to feel even more beautiful. But from what I can tell, from all the new bikes that I've ridden, this is good enough. I like the riding position. The seat, even though is narrow, it is very comfortable. You know, it is a little on the firmer side, which is what I like. That is how seats should be, because if you're doing long distance, a soft seat is going to sag very soon, and an hour or two into the ride, it's going to start to hurt. Brakes are decent. There is a little bit of dive in the suspension. Now look at this. I'm in the 3rd gear. We were at 2,000 RPM and it still picked up 22 kilometers an hour. It still picked up. Okay, so we gotta take a ride from here. Okay. Just 3rd gear, I'm rolling easy. It's just like a scooter, man. It's just like a scooter. It is so easy to ride this bike. And then you just, you know, whack the throttle open and it picks up speed. The ride quality on this bike is phenomenal. The suspension is so good on the road. We're going to try this bike off-road tomorrow. We haven't gone off-road on it yet, but on the road I've ridden it about 50 kilometers now. I love the suspension. It takes potholes well, it takes speed breakers well. Both the tires stay planted on the ground at all times with the suspension, and the best part is the suspension is adjustable. It has good enough travel, 200 millimeters of travel. I use 200 millimeters of travel on my Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. I have not needed more travel so far. KTM says the fuel economy figures would be 26.5. I think it'll be around 22 to 23 or so, real world fuel economy. And with a 14.5 litre fuel tank, you'd be seeing about 300-350 kilometers on a tank full, in my opinion. Man, those are so beautiful. Man, we're just cruising, we're just enjoying the low and the mid-range, the low part of the mid-range really, 3000 RPM or so. No protest from the bike, no protest whatsoever. It's just, and then when you roll, the surge of torque just takes this bike forward. It is so beautifully balanced. The mass centralization, the reason why KTM has the exhaust where it does, which is an underbelly exhaust, and everybody's been, creating an uproar over why an underbelly exhaust. Dude, it's mass centralization. It really is. All the heavy weight is under the bike at the lowest point and not high up, so it just helps the bike behave better. It's just extremely well balanced, this motorcycle. Extremely well balanced. And a lot of people say that this motorcycle, if it ever gets submerged in water, the exhaust ever gets submerged, water's going to enter the engine. KTM says no, they are quite bullish on the fact that this is the right setup for this bike. They have tested it. The bike has a 400 millimeter water wading capacity, which means if the ground clearance is 237 mm, the exhaust can be fully submerged and water won't really go in. By the way, the headlight's pretty good on this bike. It needs a little bit of leveling because it's high up, but yeah, the LED light is decent. I can tell already. Quality construction, I've not seen reason enough to believe that this motorcycle will start to fall apart in a year or two. It's very well built. It is priced at a certain level above the competition, but I also feel that is justified because this motorcycle has A, more power, B, is lighter, C, it has adjustable everything. So anyway, you buy a motorcycle and you will start to tinker with it. With this motorcycle you don't really have to. We'll have to take a right from here, downshifted with a quick shifter to third, shifting in the third itself. Also the turning radius of this motorcycle, because there is no weight on the steering wheel, the handlebar just turns very nicely. This motorcycle, the wheelbase is 40 millimeters longer than the previous generation motorcycle. However, the turning radius on this motorcycle is smaller. Ankit is a pillion on the motorcycle. He's 5'6", close to 5'6" inches tall, and Ankit, he rode the bike. He had no problems riding the bike. He just found it to be a bit buzzy, a bit vibey. But then again, that will always change between people to people. Again, I told you, between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, this bike is a bit buzzy. But under it and over it, no, it's not. Okay, so again, like beautifully, third gear, I did not even downshift. 2 people on the bike, and it just went. Very nice, very nice, very nice. I also tried the motorcycle without Ankit sitting behind me, and I really, pulled the throttle, and it is a quick motorcycle. It's a very quick motorcycle. KTM claims that, this bike will do 106.2 seconds, 0 to 106.2. I have no reasons to believe otherwise. I was mostly playing in the mid-range and mid to upper when I was riding this bike solo, and this bike was hauling ass. It was so freaking quick at that point of time. I think this motorcycle will make for a great tourer. It'll make for a great cross-country motorcycle. It's got tubeless wheels, so punctures are not really something to be worried about. And the tubeless wheels also are a little different. The spokes are where they're supposed to be in a tubed wheel. Now they are using a certain sealant inside. They've sealed the spokes from inside so that the air won't leak. And KTM again is very confident that you won't need a lot of work on this. The service center, they'll just inspect it whenever the bike goes in for service, and that'll be it. I think this motorcycle will make for a great, Ladakh tourer. It has ample amount of ground clearance. The tires are good. I have a lot of confidence in these Apollo Trampler tires. Brakes are decent. So even though KTM is not using, a radial master cylinder, a radial caliper, for the brakes, they're using floating calipers. They say that they've changed the piston size of the caliper, and that will make a big difference. The braking performance is adequate. It is on expected lines, they said, and again I am finding that to be completely all right. I did not have a problem with the braking of this motorcycle. Are there any negatives? Are there any real negatives to this bike? The 4000 to 5000 RPM vibes are one thing about this bike that I don't quite I think could have been better, because again, just because I am okay with it doesn't mean everybody else would be. So yeah, it's a little vibey. It's a little vibey and a little bit more than the competition, between 4 and 5000 RPM. But other than that, so far I have not been able to pick flaws in this motorcycle. It's a very nice motorcycle. The grips are great. They're very comfortable. The throttle feel is very light throttle, being ride by wire. It's got traction control, it's got ABS, you can disable it. It's not, the traction control is not feeling intrusive. I am a person who hates technology, who hates electronics on a motorcycle. I like my simple motorcycles, but here I don't have any problem with that. Maybe tomorrow when we go off-road and we put it in the off-road mode, then we'll see how electronics interfere with the bike. But no, I don't see much of a problem, here with the electronics. I like them. The suspension really is a highlight of this bike. It's most Indians are gonna like the suspension. It's plush. It is plush. It's not too stiff. And again, you can adjust it. You can have it however you want it. You want it hard. You want it light. Do whatever, man. It's going to work for you because it is adjustable. You can just tailor fit it to your needs. Again, look at how tractable this engine is, just so bloody nice. Slightly rough the engine right now, slightly rough, at this around the near 5000 RPM mark. But again, it's also, remember guys, it's a very new engine. It's only done 260 kilometers. An engine, once you've had the first service, the oil change, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get smoother. Oh, by the way, the rear brake hardly works on this bike, and this is something that Ankit found out because I barely use the rear brake ever. So Ankit is the one who told me that, the rear brake, he was standing on the rear brake and the bike wouldn't stop at all, even at very moderate speeds. So I tried it and I concur. Maybe it's just this particular motorcycle, but yeah, the rear brakes did nothing for me. It's a very stable motorcycle in the straight line, by the way. I didn't do any hard cornering here because, why would I? It's an adventure motorcycle. It's a touring motorcycle. I love touring, man. I just love going to Ladakh and Spiti and Zanskar, just the northern part of the country, and even Uttarakhand for that matter, Adi Kailash, Om Parvat. This is the bike I want to ride, man. Yeah, I do want to take other motorcycles also, but now this is on top of the list. I am having a little bit of problem with this bike when it comes to shifting from the first gear to the second gear. I am hitting a lot of neutral, which could be because, this is a very new gearbox. Also, I'm wearing enduro boots. We tried to set the shifter lever, which is also, by the way, retractable, like it's got a spring, so if it falls, it doesn't break. It just folds in and it folds back out due to the spring. So we tried to adjust it. We moved it one notch up. Maybe we have to move it another notch higher because the enduro boots are really stiff and they are thick. So, it's always a concern. Okay, 5 seconds to go, then we go straight on the highway. Okay. It rolls off easy, man. It just rolls off very easy from the bottom. And mind you guys, I'm riding with a Pillion. I'm riding with a Pillion throughout. The reason why I'm riding with a Pillion on this ride is because I want to see how this motorcycle would do in my use case. Now, I want to start traveling with my partner, and if I do that, I need a bike which is light enough for the both of us, where even if we get into some very tricky situations, I'm able to navigate the bike with the additional, without all the extra weight. So a light bike is essential, and it's beautifully balanced, this motorcycle. Some people might say exhaust note and whatever. I don't care about that. It's a single cylinder motorcycle. No matter what you do, it's never going to sound good. It's not loud, it's not obnoxious. By the way, people are staring at me at the red light because I'm a guy who's talking into his helmet. Anyway, I don't care about that. Good bike, man. I just want to get out into the highway once before it gets too dark, just for a little spin. Ooh, a Himalayan 450. Love that motorcycle. Absolutely love that motorcycle. Just a very different approach to, what an adventure touring bike should be than the KTM. KTM's completely tech-laden. The Himalayan's just very basic, rudimentary in its approach in terms of features, because you don't really need features on a 450cc low-powered motorcycle, a 40-45 bhp motorcycle. You don't need traction control, you don't need lean, sensitive, this, that, whatever. But a good thing is, on this motorcycle, the fact that you have them, they're not intrusive, and the day they come handy, they're only going to save your life, right? So I still haven't taken the rubber off the foot pegs, so I can't tell whether the foot pegs would be buzzy. Also, in enduro boots, you don't really feel a lot of buzz on the foot pegs. So maybe in boots, regular sneakers, the foot pegs might have a little bit of buzz on them, because it is a bit buzzy between 4 and 5. So I don't know about that. I can't tell you about that. It's got enough power. It's got enough power for anybody who's not crazy. It's a touring motorcycle. It's an adventure touring motorcycle with the KTM DNA that you gotta have. You want to have fun, you can have a little bit of fun. This is a true KTM. Man, great suspension. And enough power, enough overtaking power. You can do 100, 110 on the highway all day and then just overtake anybody you want to. Top speed is 153. It's gonna keep pulling. The light needs to be adjusted. It's too high. The light is too high. Okay, the cruise control works really well. I'm going to tell you that. I don't think I'm going to get to the highway now because it's dark. You won't get to see much. I think we'll have to end this video now and just head back to the hotel. There's no point doing very high speeds at night any which way. So I think I've told you enough about the motorcycle. The general idea is that this is a motorcycle I like. This is a motorcycle I would recommend for you to buy because it's a very sorted motorcycle. It's the motorcycle to buy right now in this segment, in my opinion, if you have the money. Yeah, that's what I think. What a good motorcycle. So we'll just stop here, we'll take a U-turn, we'll reset the maps and get back to the hotel. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really sorry, it's dark now. Couldn't just fucked up with the mic, but let me know if you like the video. Just let me know. I like the bike. Tomorrow I'm gonna ride it off-road. I promise you a better video. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Thank you so much.